It's your boy Long Beach Joe, and I am back at it, back at it, back at it again. Ha! I'm back at it again, man. Listen, we got a lot to discuss, all right? Your boy's doing his thing. Salutes to everybody, all right? A lot of things moving and shaking right now with the New York Jets. A lot of things happening, okay? We got a lot of meetings going on pre-draft, right? We got a lot of workouts happening. There's been a lot of workouts happening with various people. Ty Simpson had a meeting and a dinner, and a workout with the Jets. We've seen workouts, Arvell Reese, Ruben Bain, stuff like that. And we're going to be having that discussion today because there's a lot of takes out there surrounding the New York Jets and the draft and what they're going to do, so on and so forth, all right? So let me go ahead and get into this, man, because we've got to have that discussion. And I could go on all day long. Okay, listen. I'm the man of the people. I'm here for the people. Let me shamelessly promote my Facebook page. Everyone go on Facebook, search The Long Beach Joe Show. Like that page. My content's up there. Go ahead and give it a listen. Message me. I'll message you right back. I love going back and forth with you folks about this football team. Also, leave me some feedback. I love hearing about what you folks think I do here on the Long Beach Joe Show. All right? I truly do. I appreciate it. All right? And I want to thank everybody that does give me feedback. I really, really appreciate your thoughts and what you think about what I'm doing here. Okay? I'm also on Twitter as well. Okay? I'll be on Twitter. Listen, y'all can let it go. I'm not going to stop saying Twitter. Okay? Just let that go at this point. Okay? Also, all right, I'm on Twitter. Okay? Go on over to Twitter. Okay? Type in at The Long Beach Joe. At The Long Beach Joe on Twitter. Okay? Follow me. I'll follow you right back. You want to go back and forth? Let's go back and forth and have that discussion. Okay? I try to have civil discussions with people, but it doesn't always work out the way that I want it to. Okay? I'll keep it all the way real with you. All right? I try my best to have civil discussions. I try to talk to people politely. I try to, just have a good old time. But sometimes, people want to get with the extras. All right. And I try to stay away from that. All right. I try to stay away from that. But, if that's what we got to do, that's what we got to do, So let's go back and forth. I have a lot of great discussions with people, about football, about this football team. So, again, at The Long Beach Joe, at The Long Beach Joe on Twitter. All right. Let's go back and forth and have that discussion. And as always, people, okay, I'll be on YouTube as well. For those of you that don't know, YouTube, Twitch, I do all kind of things, but I'm on YouTube as well. All right. Going over to YouTube, type in at Long Beach Joe Jets, at Long Beach Joe Jets on YouTube. All right. Go ahead and talk to me. I'll talk back. We do live shows over there. We're live right now. Okay. We talk about this football team. I put content up. So going over again, Long Beach Joe Jets. Okay. Joe Jets. And subscribe, hit that notification bell, give the video, give the streams a thumbs up, share them across your social media with your friends and your family. All right. But just know that when you come over here, okay, during these live streams, there's a lot of things moving and shaking, a lot of things happening during these streams, and you're going to run into some people, okay? Run into my chat, all right? I call my chat the Savages, okay? You want to know why? Because they're savage, okay? They are straight savage, all right? Salutes. Mike, I see you in the building. Salutes. Listen. My chat gets after you, okay? They don't care who you are, what you've done. They don't give a crap about any of that. They do not care. Trust me, they do not care at all. If they don't like what you bring into the table, if they don't like, your take, they're going to let you have it. Keep it in the bean. They're going to let you have it, and they're going to let it be known, all right? So nobody's safe. Not even me. Not even your boy, okay? They don't like what I got to say, they're going to get after me. Point blank, period. All right? So please, again, follow me across all my social medias, everything, and get involved with everything that I'm doing. So now it's time to have that discussion, all right? Salutes again to all the Savages in the building. There's been a lot of things going on, a lot of things moving and shaking with the New York Jets. There's been some workouts that have taken place. More recently, Ty Simpson has had a workout with the Jets. And there have been a lot of people linking Ty Simpson to the Jets. And I want you folks to hear from former New York Jets general manager Mike Tannenbaum on his thoughts about Ty Simpson and the Jets taking him.
I would imagine that some in Jets Nation may be saying to themselves, but what about quarterback? Notably not in those 4 picks was Alabama's Ty Simpson, albeit his pro day tomorrow. Can't wait for that. What are your thoughts on Ty Simpson not going to the Jets at pick 2 or more realistically pick number 16?
I absolutely think they should take Ty Simpson at 16 if he's there. Look, they're not going to take him at 2. That's well documented. They have 4 shots on goal, 16 and 3 next year. And when you have a productive, high-character quarterback, as you do with Ty Simpson, you absolutely need to take him if you're the Jets. The verb is scour. You got to keep going until you find one. I'm telling you, his combine workouts spoke volumes of his ability to get the ball down the field. He's an underrated athlete we're looking at here. And if you're the Jets, I love Mekhi Lupton. I don't like Lemon. I love him. I think he's a dominant tier 1 wide receiver. But until you have a starting quarterback at the Jets long-term behind Geno Smith, you got to take as many shots as possible. There's a lot to like about Ty Simpson's game. I think he's a no-brainer at 16.
Now, there you heard it. All right. I know that there's been a lot of, people. Again, this is our Jets former general manager, Mike Tannenbaum, speaking about it. There's been a lot of people making this connection. All right, bring Ty Simpson to the New York Jets, draft him at 16. A lot of people are doing this, and I'm seeing a lot of Jets fans do it as well. Okay? I'm feeling like a lot of Jets fans, especially since the pro day, are convincing themselves to love Ty Simpson the same way that Jets fans convinced themselves to love Zach Wilson when Trevor Lawrence was out of the picture, right? I've also think that Simpson has benefited a bit from, a guy like Dante Moore going back to school. Now, Ty Simpson, do I think that he's going to be a solid quarterback in this league? Yeah, I think he has the opportunity to do that, yes. Okay, I do. But I'm not the biggest fan of Ty Simpson for the New York Jets. I'm not the biggest fan of it. And I think that there's a lot of weaknesses that are glaring about him that I think will get exploited here. And I don't know if he's the right personality fit as well. And I'll kind of start there. The New York media, right? I don't want to call it a cesspool, but this circle that's here in New York, okay? The fan base, the media, the pressure, I don't know if he's built for that here. This place will destroy you if you don't have a certain makeup, and I don't know if he's got that. All right? There's other weaknesses as well about him that I think are a bit glaring that I'm wondering why a lot of people aren't bringing up. 4 years at Alabama, he has 15 college starts. 15. I just look at that and I say to myself, I don't know. I don't think that's enough. That's not enough for me. I think Sam Darnold had something like 24 or 23 or 24 starts before the Jets took him. I think Zach Wilson had like 28. Like there's quarterbacks that have had, generally guys that I think go to the Super Bowl, most of them recently, have had over 20 or like 20 starts. 15 starts is not a big body of work. I want to see more. Or I would have wanted to see more from him. If I'm the Jets looking to take, that's the thing that would push me away. Like 15 college starts, that's just not enough. Then you look at his arm, and his arm, it's kind of average to slightly above average. That doesn't work here for the New York Jets. As you folks know, right? This area that we play in, there in MetLife, it's nasty during the winter. It's nasty in October and on. It's nasty. I'm talking about cold We've seen it, snow. It gets sleety, right? Heavy rains, winds whipping like crazy. We've seen this. We've seen this ourselves. So I'm looking around and I'm saying to myself, yo, is he the right guy to be here if he doesn't have an arm to get the ball to where it needs to go? No. On top of the fact that he doesn't have a deep ball either. That's a bit concerning as well. You already kind of are shaky with the arm, but then you don't have a deep ball. Man, defense is going to clamp down on that easy. Even during this past season, we saw him struggle at times, man. Real bad. That loss to Florida State early in the year, that was ugly, right? That was ugly. That final loss that he had to Indiana, boy, that was brutal too. That wasn't pretty at all. So you start to see that these defenses be clamping down on him. And then also there's some turnover issues a little bit. He had like 7 fumbles. There's some question marks about like his drop back at times. He takes a little, his pocket work is a little suspect. Too many steps can lead to sacks in this league. So those weaknesses I'm really concerned about, especially again, the 15 starts. 15. Now he does have some strengths. I'm not going to dump on him, right? There's a reason why people consider him to be a guy that could be taken in the first round, especially linking him to the Jets at 16. There's a reason. Listen, the short to intermediate throw range, bravissimo. He can get the ball there with such touch and accuracy. It's amazing, right? He can handle that business. He utilizes his feet well at times to make plays too. And the one thing I think really stands out about him for me is his ability to process things fast. That's the thing that stands out for me about him as a quarterback. His ability to process things fast with his eyes, figure things out, and boom, make a decision. He processes things so fast. Not only that, but his ability to process things at the line as well and make the adjustments within the offense, that led to Alabama's coaching staff allowing him to make audibles at the line, to change in and out of plays at the line, right? I think that that's a beautiful thing about him, especially when you get him in an offense that, allows him to kind of utilize play action a bit. Bro, he drops back. First, his back is to the defense. He whips around with the ball still in his hand. He could process things and get rid of the ball very quickly. He's very good at that. He's very good at it. So he does have some things, man. He has some things about him. He highlighted that at his pro day, right? We saw him be able to do things and get the ball out of his hands quickly, process things quickly. So much so that during that said pro day, Aaron Glenn talked about him and talked about how quickly he processes things. I want you folks to hear from Aaron Glenn about Ty Simpson, how detailed he is and how smart he is. This is what Aaron Glenn had to say.
Private workout and a dinner with Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson. Yeah. What stood out to you about his abilities?
Obviously, he's a coach's kid, and you clearly see that. He's extremely smart. You could tell he works his ass off. I mean, even in the workout that we had, he was very detailed in everything he wanted to do when it comes to his drops, when it comes to ball handling and things like that. So we'll see how this process goes, but he did a good job.
Now, again, the Jets were there with Ty Simpson. Also had a dinner with him as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens going forward. Again, I understand Pro Day looked great. So did Zach Wilson's. Zach Wilson's Pro Day was so phenomenal. I'll never forget that throw that he made going right, launching it back left down the field. It was insane, right? But there's just some things that stand out about him that just pushed me away. Not at 16. If he's there in the second round, I'd be interested. Right? If he's there in the second round, I'd be interested. But at 16, I just think there's better options. Think there's better options for the Jets. Now, I will, Carson Beck. Carson Beck from Miami. That's a guy I think the Jets, I'd like to see him take a flyer on. I'd also like to see him take a flyer on if they don't end up with Beck. Why not Aller? From Penn. Why not do it? Right? So if they take a quarterback, I could see them maybe getting, one of those two guys. Maybe they end up with Simpson if he is still around in the second round, late in the second round, something like that. Maybe they end up with him then. But I think taking him in the first wouldn't be a good deal for the Jets. I would like to see them not take him, especially with the 27 draft coming. So loaded with quarterbacks. I think that's when the Jets should end up grabbing somebody, to be completely honest. So, we know what you folks think about that there. Salutes to Mike. Mike says, I want Reset too. Joe, who do you want at 16? That's a great question. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. He also says, I want a wide receiver. We'll be discussing that too tonight. Mike also says, I like the LSU QB in round 3 or 4 or Penn State. Yes, Aller. You're right there. I'm right there with you as well. Take a fly on those guys a little bit later. Maybe that third, fourth round, something like that. I wouldn't have any problem at all. But again, I am not the biggest fan of Ty Simpson, especially in the first round. Now, as we continue on and we talk about what's been going on here with the New York Jets, a lot of people are wondering, same way as Mike, saying, hey, Joe, well, what do you want to have happen? Who do you want to see taken in the draft for the New York Jets? That's a darn good question. That's a great question because I have a draft day scenario. A draft day scenario. All right? And I like to get my takes out there early. I look at the New York Jets and I look at the draft and I say to myself, the Jets have the second pick in the first round. All right? And they got the 16th as well. Shout out to the Colts. I didn't love the fact that we traded Sauce Gardner, but we got some capital back for him. All right? I look at this situation and I say to myself, okay, the New York Jets right now are at 2. Draft day comes. We're on the clock. I want to trade down. That's what I want to do. I want to trade down. That's what I want to do off the bat. I want to trade down. I want to give another team that wants to come up an opportunity to grab whoever it is that they want, right? And I want more capital. And here's why I want more capital. It's because 2027 is loaded. It's loaded with players. Loaded with quarterbacks. Loaded with people that I truly believe are going to be able to come in here and really make a difference for this Jets football team. And so I say to myself, I can still grab a player that I want in this draft and still be able to grab capital for next year's draft or for this year's draft to make a difference for this football team that has holes in it, right? That has many holes in it. We all know that. So I say to myself, okay, I'm going to trade down. I'm going to make a difference here for the New York Jets. I'm going to trade down and I'm going to start looking, right, for teams that I want to trade down with. And the first 2 teams I come up with are the Tennessee Titans at 4 and the Giants at 5. I picked these 2 teams, right, because not only are we hearing a lot of rustlage about these 2 teams wanting to move up, but there's also a lot of talk, right, that they're going to be willing to pay. and that they're all trying to chase, some people talking about Jeremiah Love. Some people want to move up for Arvell Reese, who I think is really good. So I'm looking at those two spots because I also think that would also still leave me in a position to grab the player that I truly covet. So when I look at this, I say, okay, I think the Titans are more likely the suspect that the Jets end up trading with. If they trade down to 4, the Titans maybe give us a second rounder this year, next year, maybe give us a third rounder as well. So we get 2 picks, second rounder and a third rounder. That will work phenomenal for the New York Jets. Maybe, let's say a second rounder this year, third rounder next year. That's perfect for the New York Jets. All right. So now we got more capital, more picks that we could utilize in this year's draft. We could also make some trades and make something happen for next year's draft as well. Now we move down to 4. Titans move up to 2. Draft continues on. We're on the clock at 4. And I am taking, I'm taking Sonny Styles at 4. That's who I'm going to take. I'm going to take Sonny Styles at 4. Sonny Styles, to me, and I've been talking about this since basically the end of the season, Sonny Styles is unbelievable. And the thing about him, man, is that he is so versatile. He can do so many different things, for the New York Jets defensively. Of course, he can give us some solid linebacker play. I think he's going to be able to make some things happen, right? Therefore, it's a linebacker, which is a need for us. C.J. Mosley is gone. All these guys, we need new young, fresh backers into the building, right? We got Sherwood in the building. We need someone to help and pair with him. The fact that he was able to move around so much, move from safety to backer, guy is 6'5", he can move around like crazy. But he also provides us some edge rush. That's the big thing about him, man, that I really, really love. The fact that he can bring us some pressure off the edge. The Jets need that like nobody's business. They need that like nobody's business, man. Oh, my goodness. I am so tired of this defense just being, well, if Will McDonald don't get to you, oh, well. That shouldn't be the playbook for the Jets. We need more edge rush. When you look at these other teams around the league, right? When you look at all, these teams you look at the Eagles, they have multiple pass rushers. It's just not 1 or 2. It's like 5, 6, 7 people. They have a monstrous rotation of players that can just get after you. And they just keep rotating. That's why they're always near the top of the league in sacks. They're always putting pressure on the quarterback. That's why their defense are always good. You got 2 milliseconds to throw the ball or you're going to get your head taken off. That's how they play football. Fast, physical. The Jets have to adopt that. And to do that, we have to get the guys in here. And also, Sonny's athleticism is so off the charts. Like, he's finally going to be a backer that we can have that can actually cover a tight end, that can run with a running back that's coming out of the flats. How long have the New York Jets been struggling to find somebody to be able to do that? Now, me knowing all of this at the end of the season, I was hoping, not that I wish anything bad on him, I don't. I think that Sonny Styles is phenomenal. But I was hoping that he would go into the combine, have a good combine, but, not get too crazy. And we'd get out of there, and he'd be a guy that people would be talking about, but no. And I knew it. I knew it was going to happen because I know Sonny Styles. He went into the combine and just blew it out of the water. I knew it was going to happen. I knew it. I knew that he was going to go there and go crazy, and he did, right? Went crazy in the drills, went crazy in all the metrics, everything. I think it's 40. He ran like a 4.4. I think it was like a 4.45, 4.46, something like that. He ran a 4.4. Everyone thoroughly impressed with him. Coming out of the combine, his name was ringing everywhere. Combine literally just raised his draft stock like crazy, and he was already up there. Man, it was insane. And not only was it crazy because people talked about him and what they had seen physically from him, but it was crazy because people talked about him and they talked about how about his interviews and how he tested that way, about how great of an interview he was across the board with so many different teams. I knew it. I knew he was going to blow the combine out the water. So I'm taking Sonny Styles at 4. That's what I'm doing. Now we go to 16. Okay? Now we go to 16. This is where it gets real interesting. All right? We go to 16. And if Mekhi Lemon is still in the building, if he's still there, I'm taking him. Now I want to be honest. Okay? I want to be forthright because I'm an honest guy. I am a USC fan. Okay? I am. I am. Fight on. But that has nothing to do with this call. Okay? Nothing to do with this call. I'm taking Mekhi Lemon because he's one of the best wide receivers in all of college football. That's what I'm doing. I'm taking him because I watched him at SC and I watched him make everything look easy. He makes everything look easy. Everything. And his run after the catch, I think, is a tremendous ability. He finds a way to just get open, right? Within the defense, he finds a way to get open. Once he gets the ball in his hands, boom. Boom. He's going to make something happen. Once he catches that ball, he's going to run about 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 yards. He's going to find a way to slip away from people. He's going to find ways to have people fall off of him. He's going to find a way. Okay? Solid hands. He can make plays, all right? In the clutch, in the crunch. Bang, bang plays. He'll do everything you ask. He's a guy that's a playmaker. And I love it. So I want that on my football team. So I'm bringing him into the building. At 16. That's what I'm doing. All right? And I know that there's a lot of talk. All right? I know there's a lot of discussions about different things, different options that the New York Jets would have. I'm not against the Jets trading up from 16 either. I'm not against that either. Salutes to the Savages in the chat. I see you, Mike. Mike Catatina, I see you in the building. Salutes. Again, Mike P, salutes to you as well. Mike P says, what about trading up from 16 to, like to 9 to grab Tate? I wouldn't be against that. I think that Carnell Tate's a good wide receiver as well. I don't know if he'll be on the at 9. I don't know. There's been a lot of talk about the Browns wanting to take him. There's been some talk about other teams wanting to take him, but the Browns, a lot of people have talked about the Browns and Carnell Tate. But I wouldn't be against Carnell Tate. I wouldn't be against him at all. I think that Jordan Tyson is very interesting as well. I know there are some people that have concerns about him, injury concerns, but the fact that this guy, he's got a lot of elite traits. To really make a splash at wide receiver in the NFL. I don't know, man. I don't know. If you're trading up and he's still on that board, I would look to take him as well. But Carnell Tate is a guy I would absolutely I wouldn't be against either. I wouldn't be against taking him either. Mike Catatina says positional value hasn't worked well for teams. Draft styles and add a 10-year all-pro stud. Green dot, stay away from Ty Simpson. 4-year backup behind clipboard QBs. Ooh. Catatina also goes on to say Styles has fluid hips, speed, and can cover an elite tight end. Yeah. He also says he can plug holes and cover. Yep. Catatina also says trade Will McDonald and Sherwood. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I wouldn't trade Will McDonald. I think that Will McDonald has the ability to be a really good pass rusher in this league. I just don't know. I don't know if the Jets have the right head coach. Well, I don't think the Jets have the right head coach in the building to this point to really magnify players' talents on this roster. When we talk about Will McDonald, and it's great that you brought him up, Katina, a lot of Jets fans want to get rid of him. And I find that kind of odd because just before this past season, he led the New York Jets team in sacks. He had 10.5. That's what Huff had before you guys wanted to get rid of him. Right? Then we go into this season, the first year of Aaron Glenn, and everything kind of falls apart. And he wasn't the only person that people fell apart, that things fell apart for here. Chris BC salutes. Good to see you in the building. I think that there's a lot of things to be said about Aaron Glenn, and I think that he's one of the biggest question marks on this football team. And I think a lot of people are kind of letting that fall to the wayside when they shouldn't. When you look at the performance of a lot of players on this defense this past season, there's a lot of question marks. What in the world is going on here? Why is this defense so bad? Nobody looked the same. Nobody. The Jets defense looked like something I've never seen before. They couldn't stop anybody at all. Couldn't stop nobody. That hasn't been what the Jets have been, right? The Jets have, for these years, since Rex Ryan, the Jets defense has been something that you can kind of count on. You couldn't count on anything this past season. Couldn't count on anything. So Will McDonald wasn't the only guy to kind of get lost within this Jets defense. He wasn't. There's a lot of other players that looked kind of shaky out there as well. And then you add to the fact of Aaron Glenn firing his defensive coordinator. A lot of questions about him. Again, I think that Aaron Glenn is one of the biggest question marks with the New York Jets. And he should have been fired after the season. And I feel like a lot of Jets fans are not talking about that. And I'm going to talk about it. Because he should have been fired. There were far too many times this past season where we saw him make mistake after mistake or not do anything when certain things were happening out there on the field. Anybody remember him allowing like a minute and 50-something seconds to just blow off of the clock before a halftime? And nobody seemed to know what the heck was going on out there? Horrific game management. And that wasn't like the only time that there were issues in game management that year. That was like an ongoing thing. Where there were plays called, where there were things that were happening out there that just didn't make any type of sense. I can't even remember what game it was where they had Breece Hall in the crunch. The Jets' biggest offensive weapon, Breece Hall, is on the sidelines while it's a 4th down and they're trying to get a 1st down to keep the game alive. Why do you have your biggest weapon on offense on the sidelines? What's happening? Like, those are questions. So Aaron Glenn is one of the biggest questions on this team. We'll see if he can actually turn things around this upcoming year. But to this point, he has not been a good coach. I honestly believe he's been the worst coach in the entire NFL. He's been so bad. It's been insane. And I truly believe that if his contract wasn't so big, he would have gotten fired after the year. He would have gotten fired. He came here to fix this defense. Anybody remember that? Am I the only person that remembers these things? People were complaining about Sulla and all these things, rightfully so, right? Okay, remove Sulla, get him out of here. They ran Aaron Rodgers out of here. They brought in Justin Fields, right? All these things moving and shaking. Okay, cool. Right? You're making things happen. You're doing all these things. Like, when the push came to shove and it was time to make things happen, the Jets on a weekly basis at one point during the season were getting blown out every single week. They would come out and look unprepared, look like they had no real clue of what was going on, and the defense was getting shredded. It was getting shredded. They didn't have any interceptions all year. You had 0 interceptions. 0. Come on, man. Like that's almost impossible to do. You know? So it's like, I understand that there's been a campaign for him and blah, blah, blah. He's got to prove it, man. He's got to prove it. Because let me tell you guys something of why I feel this way. Everyone knows that the Jets are in a rebuild. Now, Aaron Glenn will tell you that he told us from the jump, well, we're not in a rebuild. We're trying to win games now. We're going to fight and build. No. The Jets are in a rebuild, and we all knew that. Okay. But guess what? The most important thing in a rebuild is, yes, to gather talent from the draft. Make sure you get guys in here. Young players are going to help you turn things around. But it's also coaching. Coaching is one of the most important things in a rebuild because coaching, not only are you instilling a winning mentality within these players, not only are you instilling a culture in these players of accountability and competition and doing everything, not only are you instilling that, but you're also putting these players in position to become the best that they could be. You're figuring out, analyzing their talents and their skill sets and doing what it takes to put them in the best position to make the plays with what they have today. And you're also coaching them to improve so that you can put them in different spaces and different places to make plays tomorrow. And so when you have a coach that can't figure out how to utilize talents effectively, hell, he can barely coach his damn self, then guess what's going to happen to you? You're going to fail. Your rebuild's going to fail. Everything's going to fail. Let me tell you something. The Jets have been here before. Bad coaching. Does anybody remember Todd Bowles? He was terrible here with the New York Jets. He was terrible. He was so bad. And the Jets failed through that rebuild. We couldn't figure out who was what because Todd Bowles was so bad. That was part of the reason we couldn't figure out who Sam Darnold was. Anybody remember him? Just won a Super Bowl with the Seahawks. He's their franchise guy now. That was one of the biggest reasons why we could not figure out who Sam Darnold was because the coaching was so shaky. Then we moved on and continued the rebuild. We had another rebuild with Adam Gase. Anybody remember that? He was the worst coach in Jets history. He was so bad. He was so bad. But guess what? That rebuild failed too because with him, you couldn't figure anything out because he was such a bad coach. If you don't have good coaching, your rebuild will fail. And you're going to struggle to identify the players that are good from the players that are bad. Because the coach won't be able to understand how to utilize them within his scheme. Right? We've seen this. We've seen this so many times. And I don't understand why certain Jets fans don't want to, understand that this is what's happening. And don't tell me, oh, well, Joe, he didn't have a quarterback. Her journey, salutes. Thank you for coming in here. I appreciate you. Guess what? He chose his quarterback. Aaron Glenn chose his quarterback. Okay? He chose Justin Fields. He was the one that ran Aaron Rodgers up out of here. Okay, cool. They ran and grabbed Justin Fields and brought him into the building. That was their guy. And a couple weeks into the season, he wanted to bench him too, and eventually he did end up benching him because he couldn't cut it. So come on. But again, Aaron Glenn is going to be, he's past the hot seat at this point. He's sitting on flames when it comes to me. He's sitting on straight flames, okay? So we're going to see what's going on. But the Aaron Glenn watch, I'm on that. Because I feel like Jets fans are giving him far too much grace. He's got to show us that he can be an actual head coach this year. And yes, he should be calling the defense because he will be. And that tells you right there, that whole situation with him blowing out his whole staff, like weeks after the hiring cycle was pretty much dying down when we talked about coaches, that tells you right there, he's on thin ice. That was Woody Johnson making that call. That was Woody Johnson telling him, you're not bringing in Wink Martindale. You're not doing that. You're going to coach the defense. That's what you're going to do. You're going to coach the defense. And you're going to go get yourself a new offensive coordinator as well, because I don't like Engstrand either. That's why he's gone. Blew out most of his staff. Aaron Glenn is on the hot seat. If you don't get it together, he'll be out of here fast. I want him to succeed. I do. I want Aaron Glenn to be the guy. He was one of the guys that I talked about, being the Jets head coach before he actually became the head coach. He was one of the guys that I was pretty excited about. But let me tell you something. Pause. He's got to get it together. Period. All right? That's that on that. Mike P salutes in the chat. Savage. He says, Joe is a USC homer. That is a negative. Now, do I love SC? Absolutely. Fight on. But a homer? No, sir. I've never been that. All right? I keep everything objective. I'm a truth teller. Okay? And it is what it is. Mekhi Lemon is a guy that people should be interested in bringing in to this New York Jets football team. He's a playmaker. All right? Salutes Catatina. He also says Sadiq all day. 4.340 top end speed. Same as Jahmyr Gibbs. Listen, I understand people talking about Kenyon Sadiq. I get it. I think he's a tight end from Oregon. I get it. Here's the deal though, man. Do you really want to take a tight end at 16? We already got one that we don't use. We just took Mason Taylor last season. We just took him. He was barely utilized within the Jets offense. He was like one of the top tight ends from last draft. He looked good, but he wasn't utilized nowhere near as enough as he should have been. Nowhere near enough. I don't want to take a tight end at 16. I respect it. Okay? I respect it. But get me a wideout to pair with Garrett Wilson. Get me somebody that's going to take the pressure off of him, and not only take the pressure off of him, but be able to make plays, man. I understand people are talking about AD Mitchell. Like, listen, I respect it, okay? AD Mitchell is a guy that came in here and he did something. But let's not act like AD Mitchell just blew up the spot. Like, AD Mitchell did not have, like, the greatest of seasons here with the New York Jets. It started off spotty to begin with. There's a lot of shaky business here, okay? I need to see more from AD Mitchell before I'm okay with just going, okay, AD and Garrett, I'm good with that. No, I need more at wide receiver. The Jets don't have nearly enough. After AD Mitchell, it's like Isaiah Wilson, Arian Smith. Everybody's so high on Arian Smith. He didn't do anything. He didn't do anything. After that, who are you talking about? Irvin Charles? He's a special teams guy. Like, when are we gonna really get some like real weapons at wideout here? Why are we constantly drafting tight ends, bro? We got Mason Taylor. We got Jeremy Ruckert. Anybody forget about him? I haven't. We just drafted him too. You guys fell in love with all these damn tight ends. How many tight ends we gonna have? 50? We can't even utilize him. We can't even utilize them in this offense already. I'm not drafting another tight end, and I'm not disrespecting Sadiq. I think he can get some things, done in this league. I understand that some people view him as like a slot wide receiver and a tight end. That's all well and good. We already got 2 tight ends here. We already got them, and we don't use them. So let's utilize the ones we already have here and then figure things out. Like, why do I want to draft another tight end? Get me a wideout to pair with Garrett Wilson. And I know that a lot of people talk about Jordan Tyson possibly being there as well. And if he's there at 16, I'm not against grabbing him at all. I'm not against it. Not at all. Salutes Mike P. He also says Indiana wide. Yeah, Cooper. Omar Cooper. Omar Cooper's another guy that I've talked about as well. Man, oh man. That run after the catch. Ooh, baby. He's another guy, once he get the ball in his hands. And I know that this is kind of overused at times when you talk about Deebo Samuel. He's the guy that really, after the catch, turns into a Deebo Samuel. But we'll see. I know people, Mike P. salutes. He says, Indiana wide receiver Cooper at 33. There's a lot of people saying he won't be there at 33. But if he is, he could be the guy. He could be. Mike says, we both know Rutgers, Jeremy Ruckert. I think he means Jeremy Ruckert sucks. I don't know if he sucks or not, to be honest with you. He's never been utilized within this offense. Effective. He's literally never been utilized effectively within the offense since we drafted him. And he, coming out, was one of the better tight ends in the draft. Everybody was stunned. We got Jeremy Ruckert? What? We ended up drafting him in the mid-rounds? How did that happen? And he's never been utilized. Never been utilized effectively. We know he can block. That's what they utilize him for all the time. But as far as in the passing game, he don't get nowhere near enough targets. The same way that Mason Taylor didn't get nowhere near enough targets this year. I thought he was going to blow it out the water. There was no way you could tell me before the season that Mason Taylor wasn't going to get a ton of targets. Why not? You only got Garrett Wilson out there, and maybe he'll be competing with Breece Hall for targets. Outside of that, who's gonna check him? Who's gonna stop him from getting 30, 40, 50 catches, something like that? Who's going to stop him? There's no one else there at pass catcher for the New York Jets. Who's going to stop Mason Taylor from losing his mind this year as a Jets starting tight end? Who's going to stop it? Man, come on. Come on, man. He had 369 yards on the year. That dude easily should have had 70, 60, 65 catches for way more yards than this. He only had one TD. Wasn't utilized nowhere near enough. There should have been plays featuring him. We should have did all kind of crazy stuff with this guy within the offense. He's got the talent, catch the ball, take off, big guy. What are we doing? And that, again, that's on Aaron Glenn. That's on Aaron Glenn. All right. Mike P. also says, don't forget about trading for Jacksonville, too. Or don't forget about trading for Jacksonville wide receiver. Oh, you talk about Brian Thomas. I don't know what's going on with him, to be honest. He's a guy that his name is out there, but I don't think that Jacksonville wants to trade him. Well, we'll see. Maybe he's a guy they trade on draft day. I don't know. I know that there's a lot of talk about the Packers wide receiver as well. So, man, let me tell you something. The Jets have to get some things together. And, again, I understand people are talking about that tight end, Sadiq. I think he's going to be an all right player in the league. That's all well and cool. But come on, man. Get me a wide receiver to pair with Garrett Wilson. I don't want to draft another tight end. I don't get it. I also saw people talking about drafting a corner at 16. Not if there's a wide receiver option there. I wouldn't take a corner at 16. I wouldn't take a safety at 16 either. I know there's some people mocking Caleb. I think Caleb Downs. I'm not taking a safety at 16 either. I'm not doing that. Get me a wide receiver. Get me something else. Or trade down. But I'm not going to take a safety at 16. I'm not doing that. The Jets have to really start to think, man. Become smarter. Especially if you're trying to prepare the table for your quarterback next season. Because we all know you're drafting a quarterback next season in the draft. Next year, you're taking a quarterback in the draft. You should be. So let's set them up properly. I wouldn't be against the Jets taking 2 wide receivers. One at 16 and then one in the second round. One of the guys that people aren't talking about, and I talked about on social media, Boston. That's somebody that nobody's talking about. Mike Katina, salutes. I like Boston a lot. I like Denzel Boston a lot. And I've talked about him and his ability to be a big red zone threat. That's what the Jets need. They need a guy, they need a guy that you can fear when you get into that red zone. And I know that Garrett Wilson, he's our feature guy. But we need somebody else. Somebody that can do something that you can't teach. You can't teach. I think he's like 6'4". You can't teach that. I'm going to throw this up, and he going to come down with it. Do whatever you want to do. That's cool. That's cool. Feel how you want to feel about it. But at the end of the day, this is what's going to happen, right? Anybody remember? There was a guy, I know his name is kind of infamy because he ended up, how can I say this? We got to be careful. We're on YouTube here. He ended up discharging something that made a loud noise, okay? And he ended up wounding himself. But Plaxico Burress, back in the day, used to make things happen for the Giants in the red zone. All right? And that guy can make some things happen. Can make some things happen here. So I like Denzel Boston a lot. And I know that there's a lot of people that go, well, they kind of look at him and his player comp is Kelvin Benjamin. Well, he's a Kelvin Benjamin. Really? Does anybody remember? I was high on Kelvin Benjamin too. Does anybody remember what Kelvin Benjamin was before he tore his ACL? He was giving the league smoke. He was giving the league straight smoke. Okay? He was cooking. Oh, well, he'll struggle with separation. Kelvin Benjamin didn't struggle with separation. He was taking off down the field, outrunning people. Go look at the tape. And then he got hurt. I think he tore his ACL. I'm going to say it was ACL. I don't know if it was ACL or Achilles. I can't remember. But he had that big he had that big injury, and he wasn't the same. He couldn't recover. And that happens. Sometimes players can't recover from that. But before that injury, he was cooking. His rookie season was wild. He was cooking. So, yeah, I don't have a problem with Boston at all. And I think that he's a guy that has been talked about as being around in the second round, maybe. I wouldn't be against the Jets taking him at 16 if they felt that highly about him. I wouldn't be against that either. But if he's around in the second round, you take him. You take him for sure. Okay? You take him for sure. For sure, you're taking him. But the Jets have to improve at wideout, man. You can't keep showing up to the party with Garrett Wilson and a bunch of question marks and thinking that it's going to work. I can't stand that. I cannot stand that at all. I don't like it. I can't stand it. Man, oh man. I just feel like the Jets really have an opportunity in this upcoming draft to change things, to really get some impact guys in their building on the board. And I think that Moogie is going to be able to make some things happen for sure. For sure, I think he's going to be able to make some things happen. Mike Katina says, Joe, your first four picks in the draft, quickly, just off the top of my head, I'm going to say Sonny Styles. I'm going Sonny Styles. I'm going Mekhi Lemon. That's 216. Second round, I'm going to go Denzel Boston if he's still there. I'm going Boston, which I think there's a chance that he could still be there. If he's not there, I'm taking Omar Cooper. And then at 44, I'm taking Emmanuel Pragnon. The Jets need interior line help. I don't know if anybody remembers this. AVT, it sucks. He's gone. He's gone. Okay. And old Simpson. Old Simpson is gone too, baby. So the Jets have to look that guard spot. I know they have Parham they brought into the building. Parham. But there's a hole there. Now maybe Xavier Newman. Maybe Xavier Newman. All right. Fills that spot. I don't know. We'll see. But I like that we have Olufasanu, Armand Mimbu. Okay, cool. You got Titman. I think he's going to stay at guard. Meyer stays at center. There's a big hole at that left guard spot. And we got to figure it out. I want to focus. I want the Jets to address edge. I want them to do that. All right. I want them to do that. I want them to be able to, to get some guys into the building. But what I want to do is I want to focus on offense a bit more, because the Jets are picking a quarterback next year. I'm tired of quarterbacks coming in here and not having enough. I want to give this quarterback an overabundance of offense. Not even an overabundance, but I want to set the table nicely for him. Because having 3 good wide receivers is not, there's overabundance. No, it's not. It's what a lot of other teams have around the league. Why do I only have to have 1 or 2 weapons? Y'all don't tell the Chiefs that. You don't tell the Chiefs that. You don't tell the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, he's already good. You don't need Travis Kelce. You don't need the other wide receivers that you have either, that are blazing fast and cook people down the field. You don't need those guys. No one tells any other team in the league that except for the Jets. I'm going crazy. I'm going to go get him 2 wide receivers so that when the time comes, he can cook. I want to put this young quarterback in a position to succeed because I want this Jets football team to stop just worrying about defense 24/7. Can we do something else? Can we produce? Can we get points in here? Can we do that? My goodness. Can we please do that? Please. So with that said, I also want to talk about something quickly. I want to talk about the discussion surrounding Geno Smith right now. There's been a lot of stuff going on around here when it comes to Geno Smith, and a lot of people just having smoke for the Jets making a move for Geno Smith. I don't understand it. GM salutes, good to see you in the building. GM says, what up, man? Trade Brees. He gives me LeBron James energy. I'm not for trading Brees Hall. I think the New York Jets made a big mistake not signing Brees Hall when they should have. They should have got him that contract before the year started. He would have been cheaper. You would have had him locked up already. You wouldn't have to worry about all these things that we're having to worry about now. Because now he's not coming cheap. He's not. So here we are. Here we are. And he showed you this year that he's an offensive weapon through and through. He was on the field putting things together when Garrett was on the sidelines this year dealing with an injury. He had over 1,000 yards rushing, and he was the featured weapon and honestly the only real solidified offensive weapon that the Jets had. Everybody and their mama knew when you play the Jets this year, it's Brees Hall and a bunch of guys. And he was able to make it happen. All right. So I understand why some Jets fans, feel, oh, well, he's just, well, wouldn't you be angry if you've given everything to a team that has yet to produce wins, a franchise that hasn't even shown you that they can put something together to become a winner? And they have question marks about you, but won't let you get up out of there? But they don't have any weapons on offense that are better than you? And you're a team guy? They got to find a way to work that out. If they don't find a way to work it out, I think that Brees Hall could end up being a draft day trade, but I do not want to see Brees Hall traded off this football team. I don't want to see that. Brees Hall should be a Jet for years to come. He's that back that when you add him to an offense and you get other weapons, man, let me tell you something. He becomes nothing more. He becomes nothing but more deadly. Okay? Man, oh, man. So I want to see Brees Hall still in the building. Man. This situation with Geno Smith is strange, and I want you folks to hear something real quick. All right? This is Craig Carton talking about Geno Smith and how terrible he's going to be. I want you folks to hear this. Here's a listen.
But here's the good news for me and for you and for Jet Nation. He's such a bad quarterback. Yeah. The prospect of the Jets winning, what would you say is enough wins to knock us out of the top 7 or 8? 7?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The notion of Geno Smith leading the New York Jets
Don't be so sure
to
about
7
that.
wins is the same as me dunking on Jalen Brunson at the Garden tonight. It ain't going to happen. And I got some ups, by the way.
Yeah.
I can get the rim. I ain't dunking off the dribble, though, against Jalen. But here.
Man. I mean, whoa. right? And I respect Carton. But here's the deal, man. I don't think it's out of the question for Geno Smith, to get the Jets 7, 8, maybe 9 wins. I don't think it is. Geno is a solid quarterback. He was a solid option for the New York Jets, right, this offseason. And I think bringing him into the building was a smart trade. It was a smart move. The Jets only gave up a 6th-round pick to grab him to begin with. And they also found a way to get out of the way of being in competition with other teams for him as well. Geno Smith still has talent. He can still get the ball out there, right, on time. He's a guy that's going to come into the building and be able to get this Jets offense back in shape. He's going to be able to put the ball in Garrett Wilson's hands and Breece Hall when he gets back out there, right? He's going to run this offense effectively because he's a savvy veteran. And I know that a lot of people make a lot of things about the last time that he was here, right? We all knew how that ended with IK, breaking his jaw, and there was a lot of other issues from then on. But if you listen to him and you hear what he said, man, he's a different person now. He's grown a lot. He's not the same Geno that he was back then. So he's coming into the building to be that breath of fresh air for the New York Jets. And I know that people want to dump on him and talk crazy, but I'm excited. I'm excited to see a consummate veteran come into the building and be able to be at the helm of this offense. And I know that, even Carton as well, we're talking about that they just didn't like him being brought back, period. There's a lot of people saying that. And my question is like, well, who are you guys clamoring for? What other quarterbacks were you clamoring for that were going to come into this New York Jets, franchise in this offseason? Who were you trying? What are you talking? Tua? You think that Tua was going to come and put on a Jets uniform and come in here? No, and he's not good. Kyler Murray? Oh, people screaming about Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is such a question mark, it's insane. There's been talk about him since day one that he was drafted. It's part of the reason why he didn't work out there in Arizona was that a lot of people have talked about his work ethic and questioned it. And they talked about how he's more worried about playing Call of Duty or playing video games than actually preparing for games. That's insane. Is that somebody that you want to bring into your culture? Like, come on. Malik Willis, I don't think was an option. Mitch Trubisky, he's not good. Carson Wentz, yeah, he's gone. Like, Geno Smith is not, when you look at the Jets were trying to, pull out of the discount bin here. We're trying to find a steal in the discount bin, and we found one. I think we got one of the better quarterback options that was still out there. And again, we only gave up a 6th for him, got a 7th back. The Raiders took a bulk of his cap, took a bulk of his contract, paid him out, and the Jets barely paid him anything. I think we paid $3.3 million total for him. That's nothing. And keep in mind, he's the bridge quarterback, folks. He's the bridge quarterback. He is here to be the bridge to the next guy. All right? That's all he is. He's here to make sure that things stay competent and allow the offense to be evaluated properly. That's what he's here to do. That's it. The way his contract is set up, next season, we'll go to our young guy, and that's that. Unless they wanted him to stay here for another year and help coach up whoever it is. I hope it's Manning. But we'll talk about that at a later date. This whole talk about bashing Geno Smith and the Jets. Listen, the Jets are in a rebuild. But I think that Geno puts us in a really good situation to be able to competently figure out what this team is and see what we can do with competent quarterback play. I want you folks to have a listen on what Aaron Glenn had to say about Geno Smith.
About a quarterback, and I'm going to say a quarterback with a chip on his shoulder. And listen, he's proven a lot in this league of what he's done, especially when you take those times when he was in Seattle. Listen, he fits exactly what we're trying to do. So obviously we've created an identity. The foundation of our offense is pretty good now. Like, I just feel like he's the guy that's going to lead us to the promised land. He's the guy that's going to touch the ball more than anybody else on offense. And listen, I know he had his struggles, and I think a lot of quarterbacks, they have their struggles. If you look at over the last 5 years, the guy that's thrown the most interception. I mean, the top guys are up there.
So that's Aaron Glenn on Geno Smith. And I know he said, hey, he's going to lead us to the promised land. What else is he supposed to think, right? That's his guy. So give me 1 second, caller. Give me 1 second. So, that's his guy, and that's the guy he's brought into the building. But listen, Geno Smith is here to make sure that things remain competent here with the New York Jets. We're going to get to the lines. Again, I'm sorry I've been yapping for so long. 805-885-0467. All right? You guys can call in. Is this Mike on the line here? Hello? Is this Mike? Mike, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
609. Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Is this Mike from Tom's River?
Yeah, Tom's River, yes.
Yes, listen, for those of you that do not know, for those of you that don't know, Mike is a savage, okay? Savage! Mike salutes. Good to see you in the building. Listen, Mike, a lot of talk tonight, all right? We had quite a bit of a discussion about everything that's going on. I want to get your thoughts on this, man. What are your thoughts about the New York Jets draft? What are you doing at number 2? What are you doing?
Well, originally I want Reese, but I like your plan too of trading down, like number 4 to get Styles. I like that. I also like with the number 16 pick, trading back up and getting Tate to partner him with Garrett Wilson.
Okay. You sound a little far away, Mike. I don't know if you have a Bluetooth in or something like that. If you could disconnect that and go straight in. But I
did. I had my earphones in, but
okay.
Is it good now?
Yeah, you sound really good now. So you talked about
okay.
So you like my plan to move down for Sonny Styles. Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. Let's start there. What kind of capital is it taking? What's the minimal amount of capital that you would take to move down to a 4 or a 5 spot?
We could probably get like a second-round pick this year and maybe a third-round next year.
Okay. What if they're only willing to give you a third-round pick and a fifth-round pick?
Nah, I wouldn't do that then.
Okay. So you're not taking the third and the fifth to move down. So let's say that happens. Let's say that they say, hey, look, third and the fifth, take it or leave it. You're leaving it. So now you're stuck at 2. Now you're stuck at 2, nowhere to go. Who are you taking?
Reese.
Ooh. Okay. You taking Arvell Reese. So you don't have any concerns.
He's going to be a stud.
Well, you're not concerned about there's been a lot of talk, and I'm not in that camp, but there's a lot of Jets fans that were just going nuts about the video where it looked like he doesn't have any bend and stuff like that. That's not a concern for you?
Nah, not at all. Not at all. He could play from the inside. He could blitz. He could do stunts. You could put him outside on third down plays. I think he's going to be a stud.
Okay. Yeah. Look, I'm not against Reese at all. I'm not against Reese at all if that's who they end up with, because he, like you said, he is a really, really good player. But I've just found it really funny on how some Jets fans' thoughts or outlooks on him have soured from a workout video. But
and he's only 20 years old.
Yeah. So it's like young guy has a whole world ahead of him. Like it's crazy. So when you look at this situation, let's go to 16. What do you say to those Jets fans that want to see the Jets take Ty Simpson at 16?
I actually like Ty Simpson, but I could go away from him and get a wide receiver there, and then like pick up the LSU quarterback in the third or fourth round, or the Penn State quarterback Eller.
Yeah,
I could see that, and then next year we draft either Manning or the Oregon quarterback. I think I want Manning
over Dante Moore. Yeah.
But I think we should load up now, load up with wide receivers. So because we have the offensive line, we have Breece Hall. Like Moji said that after the draft's over, we're going to do a deal with Breece to get him signed up, and then he's loaded. But then isn't Geno locked up on a 2-year deal? So then we can actually sit him for a year and then have Geno play.
From what I remember, he restructured his deal so that it's a 1-year deal. From what I remember.
Okay, so maybe we could give him like a 1-year deal offer and stay maybe. But I think that's the way to go. Like load up, get Reese, I like Cooper too. I really like the Indiana Cooper. So but if we can get him like as a 33 pick, I'd be happy with that. But I think we should load up now, get all the offensive weapons. The defense is improved big time. With all the picks we got to get another linebacker. I forget the linebacker. I think he was from Iowa State, wherever. Somebody was picking him with the second-round pick. I forget his name though.
Hold on. Before we go there, I wanna stay with 16 because you talked about some things. First, you talked about Breece. I want to go there before we continue with 16. You talked about getting the deal done with Breece. I know Moogie said that as well. I wouldn't be surprised if Breece Hall ends up being a draft day trade. I just got a feeling.
Oh, they better not.
Yeah. Well, my question, what are you doing here? Because I don't know. At this point, from some of the things that I've seen, from him even saying that he's pocket watching, other guys are getting signed. He's like, hey, what's going on with this money? We all saw that as well. Yeah. I don't know if the Jets end up being able to give Breece a number high enough to make him want to stay here. I mean, really think about it, right? And this is something that I've kind of started to really internalize. If you're Breece Hall, you were drafted into a team that has yet to really be a winner, and you've been through it all. You've seen them at the lowest. Zach Wilson, horrific quarterback play, all of that nonsense that went on through, so much so that he was the one that was on tape with Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner screaming for Aaron Rodgers, literally begging for him to become a New York Jet. They did that of their own free will on social media publicly while Zach Wilson was still on the roster. Then you get Aaron Rodgers in the building. That completely goes left. That doesn't work out. So much so, Aaron Glenn comes in the building, gets him out of here. Now you're back to square one with nothing. And you're trying to rebuild again. And you're coming off of a horrific season last season. Why would you, as Breece Hall, want to sign? Why would you, as Breece Hall, want to sign a contract to stay in such dysfunction? Why? Especially, again, throughout all of this situation, you've been able to see firsthand what Woody Johnson is doing.
Yes, I agree with you.
Give me your thoughts.
Losing makes it so much worse. And let me tell you, Woody Johnson sucks. He has to sell the team. He sucks. I can't stand him.
He stinks. He stinks. You're talking facts.
He really does. He really does. But I don't know if they give him like a 3-year deal, like what they signed like Shaquille Barkley for the Eagles worth, it was what, $33 million, something like that. He'll stay. With that money, he'll stay. And plus with the offensive line and everything, and then we add more weapons on the offense. I think Geno's going to do good with the offensive line and everything. I think because figure this. Like I like what you say with Boston. We're taking Boston.
Mm-hmm.
We can have Garrett Wilson, Boston, and then A.D. Mitchell as a slot.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you what, that's a good wide receiver room. You know?
Yeah, it's formidable. You can really finally,
and then you got Brees coming out of the backfield.
Yeah, you can finally go into games and be like, yo, you know, if this turns into a score out, you know, I can compete.
They can't stop the box.
Yeah,
you know?
They can't stop everybody. You know, somebody's going to make a play. You know, instead of going, all right, well, maybe, you know, they're gonna double Garrett. That's probably gonna take him away. Hopefully, Brees can do something. It's like, okay, well, what if I come in with 4 weapons? Now it's like, okay, well, all right, they're gonna have to pick their poison. Okay, you want to double Garrett, understandable, right? Okay, you want to try to key in and lock down on Brees. All right, cool. Well, now I got, you know, what 2 other wide receivers, you know, maybe Boston and Cooper. Okay, cool. So let's figure it out. One of these guys are going to make a play or have an opportunity to make a play because they're going to get open. So I just that, and when I talk about this, and many Jets fans, it's always, well, that just seems like you're doing a lot on offense, Joe. You shouldn't. We haven't done enough on offense. That's one of the reasons why we're at where we're at.
And the same thing, the same thing too is with Mason Taylor, because he got the high ankle sprain.
Yeah.
And that ruined his whole season. You know what I'm saying? Because he wasn't the same after that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but Rutgers getting better too, though.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I mean, you got to utilize them. You know, I understand Mason Taylor had that high ankle sprain, but even before, like, he seemed to be all right portions of the season, and they still weren't finding a way to get him the football. Okay, well, if you're not going to get Mason,
that was the rookie OC, you know.
Yeah. Okay, but it is what it is. When are you going to start utilizing guys then? Like, there always seems to be like a reason. Like, well, it was a rookie OC. Well, you knew what you were coming into. You understand the offensive personnel that you have. You know that Jeremy Ruckert's on the roster.
He couldn't adapt. He couldn't adapt, and he couldn't do a game plan. Well, and then he couldn't do in-game adjustments either. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'll tell you what. You better figure it out, because Jeremy Ruckert, everybody told me that he was, if not the best tight end in that class, he was clearly one of the best. And we have not figured out.
Good. Ohio State?
Yeah,
he was really good.
We have not figured out how to properly utilize him. Jeremy Ruckert is a good tight end.
Fan too.
He's a good tight end. Yeah, and he's a Jets. His whole family's Jets. His dad's a Jets fan.
Yeah.
One of the biggest Jets fans ever.
I love his dad.
Yeah, his dad's amazing. But it's like, come on, man. Like, when are we going to get the ball in his hands? Like, when is this going to happen? And then every year I'm hearing Jets fans talk about, well, we need to draft a tight end. Okay, well, you guys wanted Bowers. No. We didn't get him. You guys wanted now they want Kenyon Sadiq. Okay, cool. What do you want all these damn tight ends for if you're not going to use them? It's like drafting a fullback every year.
We don't need a tight end. We need a wide receiver.
I'm just saying.
We need wide receivers.
Like, come on, man. Come on. You know? Like, it's like, come on. So
yes.
I'm hoping that happens. But as we continue to talk about this pick, as we go back to the 16th pick, you're talking about moving up for Cardinal.
Yeah, I would love to get Tate.
Okay, I mean Tate. You want to move up for Carnell Tate. Well, what are you giving up, man? And where are you moving up to? Like, where do you think you'll be able to honestly still to move up and still be able to grab him?
Well, see, like we went from 16 to 9, so like he's available at 9. I would give up the 33 pick, and then like a third round pick next year's draft.
Damn, that's a lot to give. Okay, so you think he's still going to be there when the Chiefs are up?
There's a lot of the drafts that I've seen. Yeah, he was at around number 9. And let me tell you what, if we had him and Garrett Wilson, oh my God. And A.D. Mitchell in the slot.
What if? And I hear what you're saying, and I respect that. I respect you wanting to move up and grab Tate because he's really good. But what if you're sitting?
Because a lot of people haven't predicted that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What if you're sitting there at 16 though, and Jordan Tyson is there? Are you still moving up for Tate with Jordan Tyson right in your face?
Ooh, see, he's tricky though because of the injury history now. And a lot of the drafts have him dropping back into the second round.
Who has him dropping into the second round?
Take him automatically.
Who has him dropping in the second round?
But I really like Cooper. I really like him. That's the guy I would pick at 16.
You would take Omar Cooper at 16?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay. I'm not gonna bash you for it. I mean, he is really good. There's a lot of talk that he'll be more of a second round guy, but I could see him going somewhere in the teens. And from
if he falls to the second round, I'd take him with the first pick with 33. But
so you would
it all depends how the board plays out.
You would stay away, so you wouldn't take Jordan Tyson, but you would take Cooper over Jordan Tyson?
I'm just scared away from the injury history. You know what I mean? Because I know we're talking about the Jets. Zero interceptions last year.
Okay.
We know the football gods hate us. So you know what I mean? Burn Golston.
Yeah, I hear you.
But I like Tyson. Tyson's really good. It's just the injuries.
Yeah, I hear you. I don't know if if Jordan Tyson is there, I don't know if I'd be able to pass on him. I don't know. But the injuries are, that's an apt argument, right? I understand that, but I don't know if I'd be able to pass up on him. Unless if Mekhi Lemon's still on the board, okay, cool. Like I could see being
I like him, but he's gonna they're saying that he's gonna be like a slot receiver. Right?
Yeah, he could end up being
Lemon.
He could end up being a slot, but honestly, I think that he has a chance to be a guy you could put out wide. But just because he's a slot guy doesn't mean he can't be extremely effective in this league. A lot of guys are coming into the slot and being extremely effective, and I think he's going to be able to impact the game from that slot position. Wild, right?
Oh, he's a scuttlebutt. He's a scuttlebutt.
Yeah. And also, again, he's a guy. Even if you see him as a slot guy, I don't see how a lot of people don't look at him as a guy that can absolutely develop to be moved around all over the place and be outside. So, I think that Mekhi Lemon has the ability to really be an impactful receiver in the league. I mean, just from watching him at SC again, he made everything look easy. There wasn't anything. He reminds
me of the Seattle wide receiver from Ohio State. What's his name? Smith, whatever his name is.
Jackson. Yeah, JSN. Yeah.
Yeah. He's just like him.
Yeah, and I mean, look at him. He's crushing the league. Doing work.
Yep.
Doing work. Yeah. So
then Garrett Wilson. After that, Garrett Wilson will benefit from that. Because they can't double team all the fucking time.
Yeah. I think he's going to be great. I think he's good. McKendra salutes. Salutes, McKendra. Good to see you in the building. Thank you for raiding me. Salutes. Salutes to Abuk. Salutes. Good to see y'all in the building. Drew, salutes. SL, salutes. Good to see y'all in the building. Thank y'all for joining. You know what I'm saying? So as we continue to talk about these wide receivers, man, and 16, so where are you falling with Boston? Because I talk about Denzel Boston a lot and what he's going to be able to bring to the table, and how I think he can do some things here as well, be a big-time threat in the red zone. Are you feeling the same way about him? And is he a guy that on that second day or on that day too that you'll be willing to grab in that second round?
Oh, actually, his second round would be no problem because he's like 6'4", 215.
Yep.
He doesn't have great speed, but he's like you said before. What's his name? Who shot himself in the leg?
Plexico Burris wounded himself.
Yeah.
This is YouTube.
Yeah.
Wounded himself.
In red zone. Yeah, he'd be great in red zone, and like we have Garrett Wilson, Boston, and then A.D. Mitchell in the slot. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Pick your poison.
Yeah. It's nasty. It's nasty. I like him a lot.
And then put Brees in there too,
Yeah. I like him a lot. And I don't understand, why a lot of people aren't necessarily, talking about it. But I'm going to talk about it because I think that Denzel really has, big ability, and is definitely going to be able to do some things. And again, that Kelvin Benjamin comparison, it don't scare me. It don't scare me.
No.
Because Kelvin Benjamin was really good before he got that injury, so I don't have a problem with that at all. What are your thoughts about?
Yeah, it's always a risk.
Yeah, it is. What are your thoughts about the Jets taking an offensive lineman? When do you think they end up taking a guard? Is that something that you think could actually happen in the first, or you think that's more of a second round thing in your mind?
I've seen that with the Vera pick, you know, at 16.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be confident with like either a third round or a fourth round pick, depending if they trade back, whatever, you know, what your scenario is.
Mm-hmm.
But even like a fourth round pick, you know, just for a backup, you know, because we got the new left guard from the Raiders. I think he's good because they had him ranked like top 10 in the run defense. You know, like he was the best lineman. I think the line's set. We just got to get some more backups, like a backup center.
Yeah.
And I think we're set. I think we get another backup guard because the guy we picked up from the Raiders, he plays both sides of guard and he also plays center too. So just get another center for backup because Myers, I'm like iffy on. You know, you always switch over, Tippmann over, and just get another backup. And then we got to get the wide receivers. That's the key.
Okay.
Then the next year when we go pick our quarterback, because we got the 3 picks, I want Manning. You know, even though Peyton Manning screws over, you know, in the '98 draft, but I think he's going to be. Do you see how much he was making last year? He was making $3.6 million in college.
I mean, he's bought, dude. He can, like, he's playing.
and he's big time too. He can run it. He can run the ball too.
I mean, you know, that's how they getting that money, and I respect it. Okay, NIL, do your thing. Okay, can I borrow $5? I need a couple bucks myself. You know what I'm saying? If you could let me borrow, you know, $5, $10. Hey, listen, gas is expensive. Okay, gas prices going up, baby. All right, and like, can I get $5, $10?
This is what I want though. Well, you're in California now. That's because Gavin Newsom with the tax.
You know, it's a lot of things going on. Let's not even go there because it's YouTube. Let's not do that.
This is what I would do though. I'd be like, okay, you want guys in women's sports? I'd be betting on that guy.
Listen, hold on. You know, hold on. We gotta settle down, Mike. Settle down. All right. My final question before I let you go. Yeah, let me let you. Final question before I let you go. What player do you want to see the Jets stay away from in the first round? What is a player that you are just the most concerned about?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't want Bailey. I know that. I don't want him. I like Bain, but I really want Reese at number 2. He's like the end all. I want Reese at number 2.
Okay, but you want to stay away from Bailey? That's your big thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he's like a good rusher, but I don't know how he is on the run. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. No, listen. I've had some discussion with some Jets fans that want Bailey at 2. And he's a real edge. I mean, he provides edge pressure immediately. But I don't know if I'd pass up on Reese or any of those other guys. Listen, Mike, this is a phenomenal call from you. Next time I have a show, I want to hear from you, all right?
Yeah, no problem.
All right, you have a good one. Listen, Mike calling in. Listen, we got to, I'll be having to stop people. I know you want to go. This is YouTube, all right? It's all football. We just talk football here. I respect it. Okay. You just talk football here. You just talk about the Jets. All right. Yeah, let's be careful. Okay. All right. So, the Jets have some things they need to take care of. All right. They got to figure some things out quickly. All right. Christopher Phillips salutes. He says, hey, why don't the Jets sign Stephon Diggs and Tyreek Hill and draft a guard and 2 pass rushers? Oh, my. Chris salutes. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Jets need to draft some young wideouts. Steph, Diggs and Hill, they had, their time in the sun, but especially Diggs, he, can go somewhere else. We need some young guys to be brought into the building. And we need some young pass rushers as well, so we're going to see what happens going forward. A lot of things moving and shaking. Give me 1 second, caller. 1 second. A lot of things moving and shaking right now with the Jets. Also, give the stream a thumbs up if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already as well. Please hit that all button, okay, when you subscribe, so that you'll get all of my content. We're going to get to these lines, all right? We're going to get to these lines. I believe this is Chris on the line. Chris, is that you?
Yep, it's me, yep.
Listen, I don't know if you have me on a Bluetooth, but if you could take that off, because I can already see like you're kind of on your Bluetooth.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, perfect. Now we can hear you wonderfully. Listen, for those of you that do not know Chris, he's a savage. Chris is a savage. He's in the building. Salutes to you, Chris. Chris, we're here talking Jets. We're here talking draft, all right? We're going to end the show a little bit here. Listen, there's a lot of talk about a lot of people, a lot of Jets fans want to see the New York Jets take Ty Simpson at 16. What are your thoughts about that?
No way.
Mm-hmm.
No way. We can't do that.
Why? Why can't we?
Because
he's a good quarterback.
Because Ty Simpson, if you look at NFL quarterbacks with less than 15 starts, you know what I'm saying, and you got to at least you got to have a sample size of starts from a quarterback to actually knows who he is. So and forget the Alabama stuff with the season end. I just don't think that he just reminds me too much of Mac Jones, and like I said, I don't think that he's a quarterback that can I don't think in the position we are, Joe. Then hear me out, man. I know Jet fans want this franchise quarterback have this dream of drafting somebody and just But I never thought that. I've always thought that the way this team's gonna win a Super Bowl, we're gonna get somebody else that's already ready to go. We're already gonna have the team ready, and we're gonna get somebody else's quarterback. I never thought that we would draft a quarterback out of the draft, and somehow they would develop. I always thought we were going to get somebody that was already good, and they're asking out. I mean, similar to what Tampa Bay did. I never thought we would get somebody like that. So I don't think Ty Simpson. I think if he sat for 2 years and did like this, but dude, they just got $200 million. They got all these draft choices. They got a real shot to compete in the next 3 years. I don't think Ty Simpson fits that time.
Yeah, but here's my thing, and I hear what you're saying, Chris, about getting that aging quarterback and having the pieces already put together. But that's not the only route that you could take to actually winning a Super Bowl. There's a reason why a lot of teams draft that young quarterback and then end up putting those pieces together around him is because it's cheap.
Right, I agree.
It's cheaper to do. Right, we've seen that. We've seen. Look at the Patriots. They got to a Super Bowl with Drake May.
Yeah.
Right? That's their young quarterback, a guy they got into the building. They've been able to build around him, and here they are, right? You look at all these various other teams that have won Super Bowls with the young quarterback that they've been able to bring in the draft and make some things happen, right? You look at the Giants did that for years, right? The Bills have had some success. They haven't won that Super Bowl, but they had success with Josh Allen. He's been running the division for a little bit, right? They built around him when he was cheap. They put him in great positions. So I understand what you're saying. I just think that one of the things that a lot of Jets fans, especially when they think about the building of a young quarterback, is you have to have the right coaching in place. And I think that that's been one of the biggest issues with the Jets. That's one of the reasons why the Jets cannot properly grow and mature a young quarterback here, is because the coaching is all over the place. All over the place, right? Look at the.
I mean,
hold on a second. Look at the last coaches that we had.
Say that, but
look at the situation with Sam Darnold. I think that's the perfect situation. Look at it.
You have a point.
I mean, did he really ever have a chance here? No.
No. And I was the one that's screaming back for trade back and keep Sam Darnold. These guys were running after Zach Wilson, and I was like, we got to build a team, and that's why I think people got Zach Wilson nightmares of thing. But I mean, you could still build a team with a decent veteran and have great pieces around him. You could still, and a superstar defense, you could still win the Super Bowl with that too.
Yeah, I mean you can, but I understand that method, and that's been a method that we've utilized because we cannot figure out how to properly grow and mature a young quarterback here. That is absolutely the plan. We saw it with Ryan Fitzpatrick. Recently, Aaron Rodgers. That was literally the method that we used. We said, okay, we can't figure out. Zach Wilson sucks. We can't figure out how to pick them or make them better. Let's go grab Aaron Rodgers and let's go. That was the method, right?
Okay, so what if Joe, I know what you said about Tessa, but what if you're in this situation next year? You got these 3 first-round picks. Joe Burrow is done with the Seattle, and he acts out. Cincinnati goes to you and say, we'll give you these 3 picks for Joe Burrow. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's how I thought that's how I think we're going to get our –
Here's the problem with that, though. Joe Burrow is injury-prone as you can get. He's missed – how many seasons has he been injured consistently and missed significant parts of the season? This past year, what was it, like a toe injury, I think it was, that had him out for like a bulk of the season? The years before that, he's had a ACL injury. And I'm not disrespecting Joe Burrow. I think he's a good quarterback. But can you count on him for a full season? No.
Well, here's what I would say, Joe.
Why would I pass on? And again, I have respect for Joe Burrow. But why am I passing on Manning, who's supposed to be one of the best quarterbacks to come out of college in a long time?
Right.
Why am I passing on him? And not only passing on him, but I'm passing on the opportunity to bring with him Peyton Manning and Eli Manning, who are going to be in his ear, coaching him, getting him together to make sure that he's successful, right? In this league, he comes from a family, a football family, a quarterback family, right? A quarterback tree. Why am I passing on all of that and giving up 3 first-round picks when I can grab him if he's in our midst, and I can grab him and also continue to build this football team with it's not just talented quarterback in that draft either. There's various other positions that are right for talent.
Yeah. They got some guys coming out next year, man.
Why am I passing on all of that talent for Joe Burrow, who has talent but is a major question mark?
Right.
Why am I doing
that? I would like them to take a shot. My thing is, like, we don't know about quarterbacks, and I would like to draft a quarterback, but number 16 when I can get. Well, see, here's what I want to do with that 16 pick, right?
I'm listening.
I want to package 16 and 44, and I want to move up, and I want to get Reese, and I want to get Bain. Or I want to get Reese, and I want to get Caleb Downs. I want to be good on something in terms of the things, in terms of our team.
Why are you taking
an
a safety in the first round?
Pass rush.
Why are you taking a safety in the first round?
I'm saying, I'm just saying that kind of player. I want to package 16 and 44 and move up and get 2 elite players out of this thing, because I'm 16 and 44. Because I don't think the 44th pick in the draft, right? Because you could always trade 33 and move back. I don't think the 44th. I think you can get an elite player at 7. I think you can get somebody like a Mekhi Lemon. You can get somebody like you can grab Bain and Reese. And if you walk out of there with Bain and Reese, you have an elite pass rush for years, and that's how you win championships, and that's how you win Super Bowls, when you have a great defenses like that. I don't think the 44th pick, is such that we can't do that. And obviously we could trade back the 33rd and recoup that and a second round pick. So I just think, I don't think you're going to be able to get Ty Simpson, but if you keep the 16th pick, I feel they're going to get Ty Simpson. But if they do it, man, hey, you know what? Give it a shot, but it may not work, man. It may not work, man. I'm just saying.
Listen.
Then we're back here next year.
Listen, I'm not. I like I said, I stay away from Ty Simpson at 16, but I'm not knocking anybody that is And you're playing outside of listen. I think Caleb Downs is a good player, but I'm not taking a safety in the first round. I'm just not going to do that because we have far greater needs than that. And I understand that he's good, but I don't want that. But moving back up for like a Bane, I'm not necessarily against that either because we need that edge pressure. I'm not against
Sonny
that.
Styles is dropping. Sonny Styles is moving down the board. You tell me.
Is he?
You can walk out of there with Reese and Sonny Styles?
Who's,
I mean, that's crazy.
Who's moving him down the board? I'm just asking, like, who's?
No, I'm just saying
want him to move down the board.
If you look at this prospective draft thing, and here's what I'm saying. If you look at the prospective draft, I think one of those teams is taking a cornerback. I think that guy McCoy is going to be a top 5 pick. You know what I'm saying? Because he was just too good. He reminds me of the guy in where is it, in Houston?
Jermod.
He's too good, man.
From Tennessee. Jermod McCoy from Tennessee.
Yeah. So I think he's going to be a top 5 pick, man.
Okay.
You know, I just have a hard time feeling that even like the Giants or somebody is not going to take him, and then you got Jeremiah Love, and then you got them, and I think Washington has to trade back because Washington doesn't have a second round pick. They have to trade back. So you can go get that pick. You can get it for the 1644. And maybe you can get back a third round with that. So you know what I'm saying? And you can trade back the 33rd pick and get another. So you can have 2 seconds and two threes. So like I said, but you're not going to get Ty Simpson that way. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. You could walk out of there with an Arvell Reese and a Sonny Styles, or Arvell Reese and a Mansour Delane, or something like that. And you can have impact players where you can win this year. I mean, like I said, I think like I said, I look at the team and and I look at it. I say we're not that far off. We're not that far away from competing, man. I mean, some of the games we were last year, we were in. We're not that far away, man. We just got to get some wide receivers and we'll be able to compete, man.
So at 2, you're taking Arvell Reese because we talked about 16.
Yeah.
So you're taking there's no way to move you off of that. You're taking him, period.
Yeah, nah, yeah. Okay. You got to take him, man.
All right. I'm not even going to fight you on that. I think we should.
Yeah, I mean, Bailey is good. I mean, he's good, but like I said, I mean, if you're looking at somebody like that's Brian Burns type guy, I agree with the thing. He's Brian Burns, 100%. And Brian Burns is a good player.
Yeah, he is.
But Arvell Reese, linebacker, defensive end, can play in different positions. Can cover tight ends. It's just like I said, I just. He's 20. He could develop. And this is I would think about it. But you got Carl Dunbar down. Whoever Carl Dunbar says is the guy to take on that thing, I'm going with. If he say Bain is the guy, then we go with him. You know what I'm saying? So Carl Dunbar knows great defensive players. He knows how to get to most of them. But it's a toss up. I wouldn't be mad if they got Bailey either. I wouldn't be mad.
Okay.
But out of the thing, I was up and again because I like Ruben Bain a lot, but I looked at Reese and I said what he could be if under the right coaching, and even if you didn't think Aaron Glenn could do that, I have confidence in Carl Dunbar that can do it for 100%. And he said he's the next J.J. Watt or whatever, or the next the guy on Pittsburgh. I mean the guy on the Texans, and listen, if he could be that kind of player, though, hey, take him.
Oh.
Or Sonny Styles. I mean, you get your pick. I really like Sonny Styles, man. I'm a big fan of his. Man.
Would you take Sonny Styles at 2?
Tempted, man. I think he's Brian Urlacher, man. That's tough, man. Tough.
So
I don't know, man.
Come on, Chris. Yes or no? Arvell Reese.
Yeah, I would.
So you would take Sonny Styles over Arvell Reese?
Oh, man.
Come on. Don't be scared.
Yeah, I would take Sonny Styles.
All right. I got him.
Yeah, because I think Sonny Styles could be like Brian Urlacher, man. I think he could be that kind of player, man.
Man, he's really good. He's really, really good.
I think he could be Brian Urlacher. I think he could be Brian Urlacher. I think he could be that kind of linebacker.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's very few guys who look at like that. That guy could be like that. That guy could be Brian Urlacher.
Yeah, that's a big name. You know, I don't like to use big names, but I think that Sonny has the ability to be really good. On this football team. So we talked about your thoughts on 2-16, but I'm not hearing anything about wide receiver, man. When are you grabbing one of them? Because you talked a little bit about like Mekhi Lemon, but you said you want to trade up from 16 and get Bain and these guys. So when are you taking a wide receiver?
I mean, you got in the second round, you got like Chris Brazell and Sky Bell. You got some guys in the late rounds that are pretty good. And I'm just looking at some guys on the free agent market right now. And two, the volatile, but if you put one or two of those guys like Stephon Diggs, you bring him in on a 1-year contract.
No, I can't.
Or Tyreek Hill. And you can, but see, here's the problem. Here's the thing, Joe.
Not interested.
Aaron Glenn is on a 1-year audition. He has to win. So you want to bring in players that can actually compete right now. We don't know if these guys are going to be able to compete from day one, right? So my thing is that if you bring in one or both, and let's just say the season falls apart, you can still flip them for a 6th-round pick at the deadline. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm looking for is a short-term commitment that we can get the best out of you this year, and then next year we can draft a receiver. Now, if they traded up and got Mekhi Lemon, I would say, okay, but I think he's going to the Browns, right? I think the Browns are going to take him. I think Tate is a possibility if the Jets trade up at 7, but, but like I said, I look at it as a guy that you could bring in and cause fear in the defense. Like a defensive player. And here's the thing about volatile guys, like Bill Belichick, Parcells, his mentor, they have been successful about taking guys in who've had checkered past and guys and bringing them in, reeling these guys into, even Sean Payton, reeling these guys into the program, getting these guys to believe in your program and actually getting the best out of them. And, I think Glenn comes from that tree where he could do that. He talks about the culture, but one of the things that I think about for successful coaches, even Mike Tomlin, you bring these guys in, and you got a veteran quarterback. You got Geno in there.
Here's the thing,
that throws the ball.
Whatever
you think about Geno, he throws the ball.
Here's the thing, though, is I disagree with that because Aaron Glenn can barely coach his damn self. Like when you talk about like guys like Mike Tomlin and these guys you brought up that, or even the guys that have Parcell connections, like they have it together. Mike Tomlin is able to do those things because he was able to do those things when he was coaching because he can control his job. Aaron Glenn can barely figure out how to manage the game. He can barely figure out time management. We're talking about bringing guys in. Isn't that why they got rid of Aaron Rodgers? Because they didn't feel like they were going to be able to control the team if he was there. So I think that, look, at this point in his career, Stephon Diggs is not a guy that I'm interested in like bringing in here over drafting a young wide receiver. I'm not about bringing in Stephon Diggs over drafting a Mekhi Lemon or over drafting a Denzel Boston or over drafting an Omar Cooper. I'm just not. Not if.
But how do you know they're going to be? How do you know Omar Cooper or any of these guys are any good?
The same way that you don't know if Sonny Styles or these guys are going to be any good, right? We watch their tape.
We don't know if Sonny Styles is going to be
okay,
good.
But guess what? You have to build for the future. Period. We have to build for the future. So when you have talent, you have young talent in the draft. We have scouts. We're fans. We have eyes. We think that these guys are going to translate here. And just because Stephon Diggs was good other places doesn't mean he's going to be good here either. How many times has the Jets gone out and got free agents and brought them into the building? They weren't very good.
That's a point.
Right?
That's a point.
Do you want to talk about Tremaine Johnson? Anybody remember how great he was until we signed him, and what did he give us? There's been guys that have been failed recently, free agents that we brought into the building that have not been good.
When you said
anybody remember Alan Lazard? You were excited about Alan Lazard, weren't you? We all were.
But
How
yeah,
good was
but
Alan Lazard when he got
wouldn't
here?
you say the same thing? Wouldn't you say the same thing about Braylon Edwards and San Antonio Holmes were head cases, and they came to the Jets? Wouldn't you say the same thing about them?
You can say the same thing about them, but here's the point that you're missing, though, Chris. That was a completely different time with a completely different coach. Those teams had coaches that can control things. Aaron Glenn can barely control his own damn self. And let's keep it real, Chris. Let's keep it 100% real. Aaron Glenn should be fired. We shouldn't even be talking about Aaron Glenn controlling anything. He shouldn't even be here. You know that, and I do too. That man just blew out his whole coaching staff, Chris. He fired his offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator and blew out a bunch of assistants too. Who does that knowing that they're coming into a rebuild? Those were the guys that he told us from day one were going to be able to help him figure out this rebuild, Chris. They're gone before gone before year 2. So you couldn't pick an offensive coordinator. You couldn't pick a defensive coordinator. You jacked up most of your assistants as well, and your quarterback choice was wrong with Justin Fields, and you don't know how to manage the game. What are we talking about? Why are you talking to me about Aaron Glenn like he's Bill Parcells? Why are you talking to me about Aaron Glenn like he's Rex Ryan? Why are you talking to me about Aaron Glenn like he's Mike Tomlin? He's none of those people.
Because this is
he's
what I'm
none
saying.
of them, Chris.
This is what I'm saying about.
He's none of them.
This is what I'm saying about. But here's what you don't know about Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn knows about players. He has the great. You got.
Does he?
You can't be like Belichick anymore.
Does he?
You gotta be. Listen. You gotta be a coach that relatable to your players. Like Aaron Glenn can relate to his players. And yes,
he does?
I agree with you. I agree with you. Last year was a disaster. But you know why I think last year was a disaster? And I'm not giving him anything. He was with solid players.
Oh my Lord!
You really can't. My thing is that they should have blew up the team from the start, right? And then they would have actually did something. And an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator choice was completely horrible. But I think he's got, at least with the offensive coordinator, I think they've got the offensive coordinator correct. I think they got adults in the guys who have experience, guys who can develop a quarterback, guys who understand the game.
Chris,
you know?
He went and got guys that were left because he was struggling to find coordinators that wanted to even come in here.
You know.
No, it's not. And we all know the truth.
I don't know. I don't think.
I know the truth. I don't know if you want to speak the truth, but I'm gonna speak the truth. He went and got guys that just wanted to be here. None of those guys were like his first picks. They weren't, and we all know that. We went on for. I did shows on this, Chris. We talked about this that they couldn't find a defensive coordinator. He was trying to settle for Wink Martindale and got the no. Got the finger wagged in his face by Woody Johnson. He doesn't even control his staff. Woody Johnson told him to fire those guys. That's why he did it weeks after the coaching cycle. That's why. Right. So like all this talk, I hear what you're saying, but I'm not rocking with it because it's not real.
Right,
Let's keep it real. Like I want to keep it 100%
you're right. You got a lot
real.
to prove. Listen.
Let's keep it real.
Like I said, for me, it's just like this, right? I get what you're saying, but like I said, for Aaron Glenn, yeah, you're right. He, the whole season was
a complete disaster.
Like I said, he has a lot to prove.
Oh yeah, he do.
He has a lot to prove.
He has a lot to prove.
But that's what I'm saying. But like I said, see how you and other Jet fans are calling that. To me, that's more of a resonance to bring some guys in here that can actually play at the NFL level.
Here's the problem.
And if you lose. And listen, if it blows up, then you get the number one pick. If it doesn't, at least you go out there with a chance to. At least you go out there with a chance to. You say we got some guys that here that are proven that they can think, and let's see if they can win. Because everybody wants to compete.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to compete this year.
Here's the problem.
And if it blows, this is his last chance. Listen. This is it for him.
Yeah, but
all right?
Here's the problem.
This is it. This is it.
Here's the problem. This is it, and he came into a place that he knew was a rebuild. We are not in a space to go grab a bunch of old veteran guys on. We don't even have the money this year to build on a bunch of big contracts or contracts and stuff like that. We're not in the space for that. We are in a rebuild. We're trying to get from under Aaron Rodgers' contract and these other guys' contracts. That's where we're at. He knew that coming in. He needed to be good.
Right.
That's what we're trying to do here, Chris. We're not. That's old Jets stuff. Well, we're going to be trash, so we better go sign a bunch of these guys in free agency and ramp them up.
No, you can still. No.
Let me tell you. Hold on. Let me break this down.
What I'm
let
saying
me break
is
this down. When we're sitting here talking about him and Sulla's players and all this, Garrett Wilson is one of Sulla's players too.
Right.
Do you want to get rid of him?
Right.
So, like, what are we talking about? Like,
I
no.
don't want to get over, but what I'm saying.
Okay, so if we're in a rebuild,
what I'm saying is like
then
one
do
year,
the rebuild thing.
1 year contract. 1 year contract doesn't kill the cap.
You know what's
and
crazy?
Like I said, you have a 1 year. You have a 1 year limit to actually get something done. You have 1 year.
You know what's
on
crazy?
A 1 year contract.
You know what's crazy about this? I watched Mike Vrabel walk into a Patriots franchise. And everybody said
that's not that. Well, that's
it's
not.
not.
Wait a minute.
It's not. Please don't.
No, it's not because
Please
he had
tell
200. Listen, he had $200 million in cap space, man.
Please tell me, Chris.
He had $200 million.
Chris,
you can't.
He
say,
walked
no,
in. Hold on, no.
Mike,
I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about.
He had $200 million, man.
Chris, they didn't go in there.
He got
hold
MVPs.
On.
He got all this stuff. He had a lot of money to bring in. He brought in veteran players.
Chris, he walked in there with a quarterback. If you let me finish, he walked in there with a quarterback that everybody said was trash, was garbage. He walked in there with a guy that people said was a complete bust, and he coached that guy up. I'm not talking about, and it wasn't like they went and got a bunch of studs in free agency. They didn't. They just filled a bunch of random holes with guys. They didn't go in there and get a bunch of all pros at every single position. They did not do that. He coached those guys up, bro. He coached those guys up, and he coached up Drake May and turned him into an MVP candidate. That's what he did. So don't tell me that Aaron Glenn can't do that, because he chose his guy. He chose Justin. He chose Justin Fields. Who?
He did sign Stephon Diggs. He brought in that guy from the thing. He brought in that guy from Detroit. He brought in about all pro players.
Chris, they're not all pros today.
And he brought in our offensive tackle.
They're not all pros today, Chris. You're acting like he signed those guys. You're acting like he signed those guys in their prime. He didn't. Aaron Glenn knew, again, we cannot do that. We don't have the cash to do that. And they knew that. He knew he was the one that got rid of Aaron Rodgers. He did that, Chris. Yeah. That's why I'm telling you, like, you keep saying, well, just go. We don't have the money to do that, dog. We ain't got it. You got to go in this draft and get guys. And if you're not the coach that's going to be able to coach those guys up, I don't think anybody is expecting this team to win 12 or 13 games next year. That can't be anybody's thought process. We didn't expect that this past season. What we wanted to see was competent coaching and for you to take this team out there and go look competitive in games. And far too often, Chris, we were not competitive. We were going into games and getting blown out, looking like we didn't have a clue that a game was even supposed to take place. That's what we saw during the year. You and I both know it. We talked about this. That's why we wanted him fired, or that's why I wanted him fired. We know this. I talked to you about this. So I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Now, I'll give you the last word, and then I want to give me the guy that you want to see the Jets stay away from in the first round. Who is the guy that you don't want them to have anything to do with? I'll give you the final word.
Okay. Well, what I'm saying is that I get what you're saying. But what I'm saying is that bringing a veteran on a 1 year contract with incentives is not a huge expense, and that's what I'm saying. That's what you offer these guys to think. Plus, you offer them a carrot to think that if you work out here, we have about $200 million worth of cap space in there. The guy that I want them to stay away from in this draft.
Can I say this as well before you give me a guy? Chris, we did bring guys in here. We did do that. We went and got Minkah Fitzpatrick. We went and got Geno Smith. We've made moves this offseason to grab guys. We've done that. So what? Like, how many excuses are you going to give him? We've done that.
Everybody, that's too much pressure on. You're putting, but this is what I'm saying, Joe. You're putting way too much pressure on rookie receivers. And how many times did we do that? We drafted Stephen Hill and all these guys, and we expected these guys to be all these things, and they crumble at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm for bringing in somebody here that actually is going to get reliable. If you don't like him, then these two guys, which I think it's not a problem bringing these guys in, because one, they have the AFC East, they got a chip on their shoulders, just like Geno got a chip on their shoulders. So you can get the best of them for a cheap price.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it works, but I mean, it probably won't, because they're like you're saying. But I think going into that, if it's my last shot as a coach, my last shot, and I told this to a couple other people that know, I said, if it's my last shot, I'm going out swinging. You know what I'm saying? I'm going out swinging. I told Victor Green. I said, and he said he should go out swinging, man. That's what I told Victor. I said, he got to go out swinging, man. I told Victor, I said, listen, if your boy going out, he got to go out swinging. So, he got to do what he got to do, man. I told him that. So, I mean, it is what it is, man. But who are the Jets, who I don't want them to draft in this draft, I don't know. I'm kind of scared of this guy, Jordan Tyson, because it just gives me Devin Smith vibes,
Ooh.
So
that's a nasty comparison. I wouldn't say Devin Smith. I understand the injury concerns that people have, but I think he's far better than Devin Smith.
I mean, he's great. I mean, if they walked out of him if they got him at 16, I wouldn't be mad, but I would just be like, you remember how Devin Smith, how he came in and then he was great, and then we got this guy at number 30. I think it was the 33rd pick, and everybody was happy, and then he just got hurt, man. He just could never get a stay on the field, man.
Yeah.
And he gives me that kind of vibes, but I mean, that's scary to me, man. It's taking a chance.
Yeah.
But we'll see. They probably do what you say. They're probably bringing Ty Simpson, man.
Yeah.
But listen, God bless him. But I told his boy, I said, you got to go out swinging, man. If you go 3-13 or something, you up out of here, man.
I don't think so. I think if this team is extremely competitive but doesn't win all the games, but they're competitive and they just lose because they're just getting beat by better teams, I don't think that will get him fired. But I do think that if they come out and look completely out of their minds, like we saw last season, or this past season, where they're just completely unprepared and getting blown out left and right, he's cooked. Rightfully so. Cooked.
That's
and
why
gone.
That's why I miss a guy like C.J. Mosley in the locker room, man. I think DeMario's is a key figure, man, because he gonna make players play, man.
Yeah. And
he's inspirational about getting guys. I think Quentin. God bless Quentin Williams. I know Quentin had enough, man, and it was just time for them to move on. I have no hate for Quentin. I know he didn't like the system and he tried to move on, and I mean he enjoyed being a Jet, but I don't blame any of those guys for wanting out, man. I know Sauce still wanted to be here, but I know that, for the rest of them, man, I know they wanted out and want to win, and they want to win. But the reason why I want these guys to compete. I want guys like Brees, and then says if we get another 13 seed, I could see Garrett Wilson asking out of here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't want that to happen.
No, you're speaking facts.
That may happen.
Listen, Chris, I want to thank you for calling in, man. We always have a great discussion. I respect your takes about this football team. Next time I have a show, I want to hear from you, all right?
All right.
All right, you have a good one. Listen, Chris calling in, man. Me and Chris go back and forth often. Great takes. All right? Listen, folks. It's been a hot show, man. It's been a hot show, but your boy got to go. Schedule is wild. Listen, I want to thank you folks for listening and being a part of everything we have going on here. Listen, I am the man of the people. I'm here for the people. Let me say to promote my Facebook page. Everyone go on Facebook, search The Long Beach Joe Show. Like that page. My content's up there. Go ahead and give it a listen. Message me. I'll message you right back. I love going back with you folks. Love going back and forth with you folks about this football team. Also, leave me some feedback. I love hearing about what you folks think I do here on the Long Beach Joe Show. Okay? I truly do. Also, go on Twitter. Okay? I'm on Twitter. Okay? I'm on Twitter. At The Long Beach Joe. At The Long Beach Joe on Twitter. Okay? Go ahead and follow me. I'll follow you right back. You're going to troll me. No problem. I am the troll that lives under the bridge, and I will have my Jets jersey on at all times. At all times. Elijah Vera Tucker's gone, man. He's gone. He's no longer under that bridge, man. But still and yet, we'll be wearing that green and white jersey, all right? It'll just be me, and I'll be there to troll you, all right? Hopefully, maybe Mekhi Lemon will join me under the bridge to troll everybody, okay? Tough times, man. What made it worse is to see Vera Tucker go to the Patriots, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on. Come on, man. Anyway, I'll be under that bridge, okay? Long Beach, at the Long Beach Joe. Follow me, I'll follow you right back, all right? I'm also on YouTube as well. Go on YouTube, type in Long Beach Joe Jets. Long Beach Joe Jets, okay? Subscribe, hit that notification bell, all right? Get in the comments, all right? You want to troll me, no issues. I will troll you right back, all right? And as always, people, when you see me in person, okay? When you see me in person, because I'll be outside, I don't hide. Free hugs for everyone. Free hugs for everyone. It will cost you absolutely nothing. Thank you for taking the time out of your day, all right, to interact with the show, to talk to your boy, to be in the chat, to go back and forth, all the savages, everybody that calls in. Thank you, folks, all right? Without you people, I'm absolutely nothing. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to get involved with everything your boy is doing here. So until the next time, you folks have a good one. Peace. 1 second, folks. Pow. All right, listen, folks. I got to slide out of here. I want to thank everybody for being a part of everything that I'm doing. Again, salutes to everybody. Mike P, salutes. Thank you for being in the building. Mike Catatina, salutes. Chris, salutes. Everybody that came on by. Kendra, everybody that stopped by, salutes to all of y'all as well. Everybody that stopped in and said what's up to your boy. I really appreciate y'all. Got love for y'all, man. Thank y'all for joining your boy GM. Salutes. Always good to see you in the building as well, man. Everybody that just came on by and said what's up. SLR, everybody was, that stopped by and said what's up. CJ, Drew, Susie, again, Kendra, everybody, that came on. Salutes to everybody over there on Twitch as well. Listen, folks, we do this show year round. Try to do the show weekly. We're going to continue going forward. We'll have a show next week. I'll let y'all know what day. As we know, my day switches because my schedule's crazy. Get involved. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. Give the streams and videos a thumbs up as well. And, come join what we're doing over here. We have a lot of fun, as y'all heard. I take calls. This is how we're taking calls for the show. Numbers right there at the bottom of the screen. You call in, and, I hear you out. And again, I listen to everybody. As y'all heard tonight, everybody has different opinions. I'm all about hearing the opinions out and listening to everybody. So please, get involved with everything that I'm doing over here. We do a watch along. We will watch games together as well during the year when my schedule allows it. And then after that, we have live radio shows as well. The only thing I don't allow in my show is cursing. Don't call into my show cursing. I will get you out of here. Okay. For that. Don't do that. Okay. And the political talk as well. We keep that away too. Okay. This is a football show. All right. So, you got to watch that. All right. So, please get involved with everything that I'm doing over here. Subscribe. We also game on this channel as well. Sometimes we play video games when I have the time. I'll get back to that at some point, man. It's crazy. So if you see that, come on in. Say what's up to your boy. Get involved. When you call in, please make sure your headphones. Some people have Bluetooth that y'all heard me. Y'all heard tonight. Sometimes that Bluetooth can make you seem real far away and stuff like that. Try to disconnect that. If it's not bad, I'll ask you to, correct your situation so that we can hear you. Because if my audience can't hear you and I can't hear you, what are we doing, right? Also, if you have a lot of background noise and stuff, I'll move on from you. Please clear out your background noise. Get rid of that stuff as well, too. So we have a lot of fun. We do a lot of great stuff here. Please make sure your connection is good when you call in. Don't call me from a phone that you found in a Home Depot dumpster, okay? Don't do that. Call me from a good phone where you got a good connection, all right? So, yeah, we have a really good time here. I really enjoy connecting with people and talking about this team, man. So please, get involved with everything your boy's doing and stop on by and say what's up. So, yeah, we have a lot of fun. Please get involved with everything that I'm doing. I want to thank you folks again for joining. Please give the stream a thumbs up, man, and stay with your boy. I'll be putting out more content, and we got a lot of stuff coming in the future as well. Also, there's a link tree in the description. Get involved in that. It has the links to all of my social media and everything else, all right? I want to thank you guys. I got to get out of here. Listen, folks, be safe. Be safe, okay? There's a lot of crazy things going on in this world, and I don't know why. Don't ask me, okay? I don't know why it's happening, but it's happening. Listen, sit down with your friends and your family, eat some good food, have some good meals, and let the people that you love know that you love them. It's important to me in my life, and I hope it's important to you and yours, okay? So, yeah, that's important. Very, very important, all right? So until the next